Hello and welcome to a channel update. I think this will be quite a long channel update that will cover basically why I haven't been uploading any of my regular videos. The abiotic factors, I have recorded those in way in advance, and there are still some episodes to come, and I will just play Mewgenics in the background while I talk about what has been going on. And as I said, this will probably be quite a long video. I will have chapters in the description, so you can just jump back and forth if there are anything you want to. Is there anything in particular you want to know about? But I will do sort of a quick index intro thing, what I want to cover in this video. So first thing is basically what has been going on, why I haven't been uploading lately. And then I will I'll also talk about what has been going on, a lot of the stuff that has been happening, both good and bad things have been happening recently. Then I will also, because I wanted to make a 1-year status video when my channel was 1 year, which was back in January. I also want to make a sort of quick thank you for reaching 200 subscribers, which is actually quite a long time ago now. We are, I think, 212 the last time I checked, which is just insane. But I'll also very quickly just do if you don't want to sit through all of my rambling, and if you don't care what has been happening and just want to know when more videos will be coming, I will be, depending on how long this video take and how busted I am. I'm very rusty in recording. I can already feel that. I don't have a script or anything written down. I just have a rough idea about what I want to talk about. But yeah, depending how busted I am after doing this video, I may record already today, but I will be back to recording this week. And I hope that the first video that I will record will be the Total Warhammer Icket Claw video that's supposed to come out tomorrow. I don't think I will make the V-Rising video today, since that's supposed to come out in 3.5 hours. I don't think I'll be able to make that, but I'm aiming for the Total Warhammer 3 video tomorrow, and then the Armor 3 video on Saturday, and then continuing with my regular schedule, which there also will be at the end of this video, if I remember to talk about it. Just very quickly go over each series and whether or not they will continue, because there will be one series that will be Borderlands 4, but I'll talk about that. So if you don't care about all the other stuff that's going on and just want to know when there will be new videos this week, unless something else gets in the way, I am hoping it won't. I hope that everything will be just smooth sailing, at least for the foreseeable future, and just nothing shitty is going to happen. So with that out of the way, what has been going on? Why haven't I been uploading? Well, where to begin? Well, usually at the beginning, that's probably a good idea. So my wife started a new kind of therapy quite a while back, and that is it's going very well. But it's also very tough. It's very rough on her, because it's just brings back a lot of the stuff that has been happening and going on in her childhood. And if any of you have any sort of experience with going to therapy, you know that when it's working, the therapy, it's also when it gets really, really rough, and it really is. And that also affected our relationship. We are still together. That's not where this is going. We are not getting a divorce. I couldn't dream of living a life without my wife. That's not at all where this is going. So don't worry. But I mean, it's also rough for me being on this sideline, so to speak, of being a loved one to someone who is going through all that, because as much as I want to be there for her, And as much as I am there for her, it's still, at least not for me, it's not enough what I'm doing, because I cannot fight her battles for her. I cannot do the therapy for her. I cannot do the work for her. I can only support her with everything that I can with what she's going through. But of course, it affects both of us, with one of us being in therapy and dealing with the stuff that she's dealing with. And if you don't know, there is another video on the channel where I talk about what's basically going on with my wife and the things that she is struggling with and how that also affects me. But so the therapy is definitely working. She is getting better, but there's also some things that just the nature of going through therapy, it bleeds into our relationship, and we were getting into stupid arguments and just clashing, and we maybe don't have the sort of best compatibility in how we deal with discussions and confrontations and things like that. But we always find each other whenever we are having these stupid arguments, and we always work it out afterwards, talk it through. So that's good. But of course, it's just slowly wears you down, and then you have to do things to sort of, you have to do good things also. You can't just let it just completely wear you down. And I'm not saying it's at all my wife's fault, not at all. It's when we are both adults and responsible and have a responsibility to make things work, and we are working it out the best we can. But it is rough on both of us, and also it's rough on me, and also there has been some issues with my work. And again, this is quite a few weeks, and over the issues with my work has been going on for quite a long time now. But it's just that whenever I get home from work, I'm usually very, very tired, and just things are getting better at work. Luckily, there has been quite a few issues. Unfortunately, I can't really talk about it in case some of my colleagues watches these videos. But there has been some stuff going on at work that has been pissing me off and just mentally draining me, and with all the stuff that's going on then with my wife and me, that didn't quite help the issue. So I needed some vacation. I took 2 weeks vacation just to slowly recharge my batteries and just get back into a sort of better frame of mind, and just recharge the batteries and just get everything sorted. And towards the end of the vacation, and I will jump to something that does not all seem relevant, but it is. So towards the end of my vacation, I traded all of my Warhammer figurines for airsoft equipment, both gear, vests, helmets, face masks, weapons, a lot of weapons. I traded all of my Warhammer away from that, because I have a friend who used to be very, very sort of a serious milsim airsoft player who had a lot of gear. He no longer wants to play airsoft, and I wanted to start playing airsoft, so we just traded hobbies, so to speak. I had many years ago, when I was a teenager back in the 90s, I used to play a lot of airsoft, and then I just stopped, and then I started playing like maybe 2 months ago. I started playing a bit of airsoft, and then slowly gotten into it. But the thing with the airsoft is that my friend, and again, this will have relevance as to why I'm all of a sudden talking about airsoft. My friend started playing airsoft a year ago, and he was like, "Oh, you gotta come play airsoft with me." And I was like, "Nope, I don't want to, because I have a very, very fucked left knee. I have dislocated my knee 3 times in my left knee." And I was like, "Nope, I don't want to play airsoft, because if I start playing airsoft, then I'll just dislocate my knee again, and things will become really fucked this time around." And I dislocated my knee the first time, I think, around the year 2000, 2002, maybe 2004. Second time might have been 2008, 2010, and then basically nothing happened until 3 or 4 years ago when I started playing. I think it's called paddle tennis. I know it's called paddle tennis in Danish, but I'm not sure what the English word is for it. I really should check whenever I do these videos. But I started playing paddle tennis. If you don't know what it is, it's basically I want to say indoor tennis, but you can also play it outdoors. You just have these glass walls all the way around you that you can ricochet the ball off. There are, of course, certain rules how many times you can do it and how you can ricochet the ball off these glass walls. But it was amazing because I've always been overweight. I'm getting somewhat old. I'm 42 years old, so now I had to get some exercise in, and my friend got me into paddle tennis, and I loved it. I loved it so much because I could just feel the effect that it had on my body, just a positive limbering up, just starting to lose weight, got more energy. I got my wife to play. Me and her played with friends. We played with family. I played with colleagues. And then I dislocated my knee the third time. And I won't get into any stupid jokes about child labor and giving birth and sort of pain compared to each other, but dislocating my knee the third time is definitely the worst thing I have ever experienced in my life. I vaguely remember the first and the second time, but the third time I didn't think I was ever going to be able to walk again. Not without some kind of aid, or at least I didn't think I was going to be walking proper again after the third time. And just the whole period that came after I had dislocated my knee, with the retraining, rebuilding of muscle strength, and everything was just a complete shit show. And the doctors found out that I was born with a defect in my knee. Normally, when you have a knee, most people have this sort of little, let me just get my hand, you have this sort of little bowl that the kneecap sits in snugly, so it can't really move around. The problem with my knee is that it's like a complete flat surface that my knee then sits upon, my kneecap sits upon, so it can just slide back and forth. So if I were to get up right now and twist my knee the wrong way, I would dislocate my kneecap. And the whole experience of dislocating my knee a third time, because the pain, I remember just thinking about it right now, just it makes me almost sick to my stomach, because it definitely left a trauma inside of me. It might be a minor trauma, but a trauma nonetheless, because I just grew completely inactive. I was so afraid of doing anything because I didn't want to dislocate my knee a fourth time. And so when my friend, he started playing airsoft a year ago, I was like, nope, I don't want to play airsoft because I'll dislocate my knee, and nope, I know I won't do it. I just want to sit still and not move and just keep gaining more and more weight. And I actually started taking Wegovy, the overweight medicine, and that actually helped. I did lose quite a lot of weight. But as I said, with the work situation and work being shit, and just the workload and just all kinds of shit going on at work, and also the things going on with my wife, we both ended up just taking the easy way out. Whenever we had to make dinner, we just ordered a lot of junk food, and whenever we got into these stupid arguments, we both have this tendency to use snacks, ice cream, chocolate, chips, whatever, as a sort of coping mechanism. And the thing was, I was on Wegovy and didn't really gain weight, so I kind of ended up using it as a get out of jail free card and just eat whatever I want. Then, of course, at one point I started gaining weight. We then came to the conclusion that there was no reason for me to be on Wegovy. It was basically me that came to that conclusion. There was no reason for me to be on Wegovy when I just ate everything I wanted to, and just because it's a lot of money. It really is. It's a lot of money to take that medicine, and there's no reason to take that medicine when I'm not using it proper. Also, we had to make sure that we had enough money for my wife's therapy. And that was a way to ensure if I stopped taking Wegovy, we knew we could afford my wife's therapy, because I don't have to tell you probably that the price of living is going up for everyone. I mean, with the world being as shit as it is, I mean, it's getting harder and harder just to make a decent living. And we basically only have my income. We are getting by. We don't have to sell the house or anything like that, but there are definitely rough months. But again, I don't have to tell you because it's the same for basically every single person, unless you are rich, one of the 1%, probably less than 1%. But yeah, I mean, the common people, you know what it's like. The price of living is just keep rising and the world is fucked. But going back to airsoft, more and more of my friends were starting to get into this whole airsoft thing. And then actually my best friend started getting into airsoft, and he was like, you should really come play airsoft. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to. I don't want to. My knee. And he was like, you should come play airsoft. We can just walk. You don't have to run. You don't have to, roll around and do all kinds of crazy stuff. We'll just walk around and just shoot some people. And I was like, finally, I cave. And I was like, I also came to realization that I had to do something. I had to get some exercise some way, because I wouldn't get very old if I continued with the way I was going. So I agreed to say, yes, fine, I'll come play airsoft. Just give me a chance to acquire some gear, some weapons, and I'll come play airsoft with you. And so I found out that my friend, as I said, he used to be this was another friend. He's not part of the whole airsoft group that we have now. But as I said, I traded all of my Warhammer for his airsoft. We just traded equal, just traded. I traded all of my Warhammer. I got all of his airsoft. And I have been playing airsoft on and off, and I am so happy. It has helped me so much. I can already feel it starting to help. As I said, it's been probably around 2 months now that we have been playing. We have a field that we go to. I try to make it at least 2 times a week. There are Thursdays, Saturday, and then Sunday. And I try to get out at least 2 times a week to get some exercise in and do some airsoft. But I am very self-conscious about the whole knee situation, because I know if I make the wrong move with my knee, I will dislocate it again. And I do not want that to happen. And why am I saying this? Well, because I had to get all of my Warhammer figurines out from my wife's hobby room where I was storing them and sort of getting them ready to trade with my friend. And this happened during those 2 weeks vacation. And again, this is maybe 2 months ago now. I have the timeline is fucked. I haven't really looked at the dates, but I think it's 2 months ago. So when I got all of those Warhammer figurines out and packed them up, and my friend came and collected them, and he got all of I got all of his airsoft equipment. We decided, me and the wife, to spend the last a couple of days of my vacation to sort of rearrange her hobby room, because I also have a ton of War Machine and Hordes figurines, miniatures, which is another board game like Warhammer, but different. And we wanted to, because they were stored in the most ineffective way that you can imagine. So we just decided to, let's spend a couple of days, the last days of my vacation, rearranging my wife's hobby room, getting all of my figurines out and repackage them, and just see how much room we can make by storing them probably, and then hopefully store a lot of the airsoft equipment that I got from my friend. And so we got around to doing that, and when we started, we emptied out all of the cupboards and out of the closets that we have that I had stored all of my figurines in, miniatures, not figurines. And then we started moving out the closets and the cupboards, because we wanted to rearrange stuff and see if we could maybe fit some more closets, so we could get some more closet space and some more cupboards, or maybe some more shelves and things like that to just store more stuff on. And then we found out that we had a mold attack, like a fungi growing on the wall behind one of these closets. And when I saw that, I immediately just, every ounce of energy and sort of battery life that I had built up in my vacation was just immediately drained, because I immediately went into to this kind of doom and gloom mode. Because, and this may be an archaic way of thinking, but I'm the man, I'm supposed to provide for my wife. And just seeing this mold, I immediately just went to, fuck, we have to sell the house. We have to burn the shit down and just move somewhere. We have to sell the house because now it's just riddled with mold. And I was just going into complete doom and gloom mode, and just my energy was just completely drained from just looking at that mold attack. And basically it was right in the corner where the two walls they met. The entire corner had a mold growing on it, and I just got the wind knocked out of me completely. So luckily, my wife, she really stepped up and took charge, because I was just completely fucking wasted. I had to go back to work, and I just felt like I haven't had a single day of vacation. But she just, I mean, I love her so much for just taking complete charge of that situation. And just, I am not at all handy. Whenever there is handy stuff that has to be done in the house, construction, whatever, uh, drilling, hanging up new shelves, things like that, it's usually my wife. We help each other, but it's the same when we have to assemble IKEA furniture. That's her department, because those IKEA instructions, I lose my fucking cool whenever I see them. But she really took charge, and she just, I mean, she tore down the it's not wallpaper, it's some kind of, I think it's called glass fiber wall something. I'm not, again, I haven't the faintest clue about anything that has to do with the construction. But she just took complete charge, and she tore down the wallpaper, and she went to this what's it called, general convenience store, where they sell all kinds of handy tools and things like that. And she bought some antifungal spray, and she was told what to do, and we did it. So you have to remove the wallpaper to get to the wall behind where this mold thing is growing, and we sprayed it, and then you have to let it sit for 24 hours and then observe if there's any new fungal growth. And we did this just to make sure that there were nothing. We did it for, like, yeah, I think we did it 4 times. So over 4 days, spraying, let it sit and dry for 24 hours, come back and observe, are there any mold growing? No, then you can replaster the wall with wallpaper. But we did it to make sure. We did it 4 times to make sure. But the thing is, then before we could do all of this, I'm skipping a bit ahead, I'm sorry. Before we could do all of this, we had to empty out the entire hobby room, my wife's hobby room. And it just, it ended up, and let me just drag this over here. This is one of the rooms in our house. This is where we, whenever we have family and friends over for dinner, this is where we sit and eat. Also, whenever we play board games, this is where we play board games. And this is just some of the stuff that we had to take out of my wife's hobby room, because she has all kinds of really expensive paints and really expensive paper, and all of this mold, these fungi spores, if they get into this paper, and the paints, that will destroy it. So we had to empty everything out and wash everything down. And this is just one of the rooms in our house that looked like this. So there was no space for us to sort of breathe in, and we just felt completely trapped in our own house. And despite my wife just really taking charge with all this and just kept it up, I mean, we both just kind of got the wind knocked out of us, just coming home every day and seeing our house look like this. And just, yeah, it was a complete mess. And it was fucking rough seeing just every single room in the house looking like this, with boxes and things on the table and just all kinds of stuff like that. But we got it done, and we started putting things back in her hobby room, and we went out and bought some new closets because we had to throw out the old closets because they have mold growing on them also. And luckily, there is nothing in there now. There is no more mold. We killed it all. And we are still not 100% done with actually rearranging her hobby room and storing stuff, but it is looking a lot better. But what ended up happening while this was going on, the whole just rearranging after the whole mold thing, is that I ended up getting sick, like really, really sick. I don't know if it had anything to do with the mold, but I got a really bad sinus infection. It definitely had something to do with just the level of stress that was going on at that moment. I got a really bad sinus infection, and I was sick for over a week. I want to say a week and 4 or 5 days. And then I got better. I went back to work. And as they say, when it rains, it pours. And this was, let me just check real quick the calendar, because this was very recent. We are catching up on recent time. So yeah, I got back on Monday, the 18th of May. So 2 weeks ago. And as I said, I was sick for a week and 4 or 5 days. And when I got back to work on that day, again, I want to stress it, after being sick for an hour and 5 weeks, not for an hour and 5 weeks, what the fuck, a week and 5 days, my company announced that they were going to have to let 440 people go. They were going to have to fire 440 people. And that sent me into a real downward spiral of just doom and gloom, because there are some history. I won't go into it all here. I might talk about it at a later time. If you are interested, please let me know, and I'll definitely make a video about it at one point. But many years ago at my work, we had a similar situation where they had to fire a lot of people. And at that time, I was one of the persons who were I was chosen to let go. I wasn't fired. I was offered my old job back. I work in a chemical plant factory, and I was offered my old job back as a senior operator on the production floor. I accepted it because I had nothing else, and a lot of stuff happened in between that time I was let go. I was later rehired to the current position I now hold, but just the whole history of having been let go once just sent me spiraling back to the point where I was sure I was one of the people who was going to get fired this time around. Also because I had just been sick for a week and 5 days. So it was, in my opinion, I was an obvious choice for someone who was going to be fired. And if I were to be fired, I mean, I would fail as the husband, as the provider for my wife. And that just sent me into a complete downward spiral of just, feeling like a complete failure, because, as I said, I was 100% sure that I was going to get fired. And if I were to lose my job, we would have to sell the house. We would have to, my wife would not be able to, at least for an extended period of time, she would not be able to get any therapy because we wouldn't have enough money for it. And it just, we were told, as I said, I got back on the 18th of May, and we were told on the 27th, Wednesday, the week after. I'm looking at my calendar down here, just to make sure I have the dates correct. So Wednesday, that's the 17th, we were told that was the day when they were going to announce the names. That has something to do with Danish legislation and sort of work laws, that you have to give notice and you have to, what's the word? You have to come up with a severance plan for the people you're going to let go. You can't simply just fire them. They have to get a certain amount of months pay when you're let go like that in Denmark. Also depending on how long you have been hired at the company, but usually the company offers you something extra. So all of that had to be decided between the company and representatives from the different unions and things like that. So that's why there were this gap. But I mean, from the 18th to the 17th, I was to put it mildly, I was not in a good place. I was just so much doom and gloom and just was so fucking sad all the time. And it was a shit 1 week and 3 days, I think, from Monday, next week, Wednesday, a week and 3 days. And again, my wife just totally stepped up, and I love her so much for it, but I'm also a bit ashamed of the fact that I could not. I mean, I barely got through the work days because I was just sure that I was going to get fired and that we would lose the house and we I couldn't provide for my wife anymore. Luckily, I wasn't fired. I am still hired, which is very, very good because that means we don't have to sell the house. We can still pay for my wife's therapy. We can still go on with continuing to build everything that we are building, and just, yeah, that was a rough week that from when I was told that we were going to fire 440 people. Luckily, there was only 3 of my colleagues that were fired, and they were all voluntary, meaning that some of them were close to retiring anyway, so they went up to our head of production and said, you know what, you can just go ahead and fire me. That way you don't have to fire anything else, and just huge respect to my colleagues for that. So the only 3 people we lost in my department were all people who voluntarily decided to quit their job. Of course, there were a lot of other people who lost a lot of colleagues, and that's never a fun situation. It's never fun to go through, but I was so very happy that I wasn't one of them that was let go. And just Wednesday, previous week, right? Isn't it? Yeah, just tomorrow. It's a week ago. I was so wasted, not drunk, wasted, but just completely tired when I got home from work. I left home early because my boss told us that it was okay if we went home. And I completely crashed when I got home Wednesday, because I got home, my wife was there to greet me. We hugged, we cried, because it had also affected my wife, of course, because she was also afraid what was going to happen if I lost my job, with selling the house and her therapy and things like that. And just was also very rough on her seeing me being as down as I was. And so, yeah, we had a big cry, both of us, on Wednesday, and I just completely crashed after that. Usually I don't do naps during the day, because if I take a nap during the day, I cannot sleep during the night. But I went in and I took not even sure you can call it a nap, because it was almost a 3 hours sleep I went through. And then I went to bed at night at 8 o'clock. I usually never go to bed until after 10, 11 o'clock in the evening, but I went to bed 8 o'clock, and then I slept. I actually overslept the following morning a bit, just by like 10 minutes or so. My wife ended up waking me up because my alarm had been going off 3 times, and she was like, don't you have to go to work? And I was like, oh yes, I do. What's the time? Oh, fuck, I overslept 10 minutes, and I ended up sleeping for almost 12 hours, not counting the nap. So on that day, I think I slept 15 hours with the nap included, 15 or 16 hours. So I was completely wasted, and just slowly getting back into it. And now, hopefully, as I said, everything I hope is gonna get smooth sailing from here on out. I will be back to recording on my regular schedule, and getting back to just hopefully entertaining you guys. I mean, you have been so awesome still. I mean, all of you that have subscribed during this time and commenting on my videos, I mean, thank you so much. It means so much to me. And all of you that are still subscribed, I mean, whether you are my first subscriber or my latest subscriber, I mean, you mean the world to me. It means so much to me. Those of you who are liking my videos and commenting on them, thank you so much. Those of you that don't like and comment and are not subscribed, I still love you. If you watch my video, it still means the world to me. So please, not please, just thank you so much. So with that out of the way, I think that covers basically all I wanted to talk about, actually. Yeah, I think it does. The other two parts of the video is, as I said, I wanted to make a 1 year sort of status of doing YouTube video. I wanted to make it back in January, but when January hit, I was so close to 200 subscribers. I was sitting at around 198, 196, and that number kept fluctuating. So going up, going down, going up, going down. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait and see if I cannot hit 200 subscribers, and then do a sort of combined video of a 1 year sort of status video and a 200 subscribers thank you video. But that didn't actually happen with 200 subscribers, I think, until March. And March was just a rough month with just everything that, as I've talked about previously, was going on with work and my wife and her therapy and how that affected our relationship. Again, not at all saying it's my wife's fault, not at all. I mean, she is struggling with her. And again, we both have a responsibility to make things work out the best. But yeah, so I didn't got around to it, and I was just looking at my subscribers and feeling so fucking guilty for not thanking you guys. So 200 subscribers, as I said, now I think it's 212. Thank you so much. It really means the world to me. I did not expect to ever hit even 100 subscribers. I think when I started doing this, but the fact that I have 212 subscribers now is just completely unbelievable. And just, I mean, I love doing this so much. And when I started doing YouTube, and now we will get into the 1 year status video, I also talked about this in another video that's on my channel under the sort of, I have this personal talk playlist, I think it's called. I talked about it briefly there. But when I started doing YouTube, I won't lie and say that it wouldn't be awesome for me to be able to live off of doing YouTube. But if I am at one point able to just bring in a tiny bit of cash from ad revenue or whatever, I mean, that would be awesome. I'm not expecting it to happen. And I also realized, so what happened was, when I started doing YouTube, I ended up falling into this trap where I was just sitting and looking at my video stats, and I was just like, oh, no one is watching my videos. Why should I bother doing YouTube? And my wife was like, no, you have to continue doing YouTube. At least give it a year and then see how you feel after a year. And I was like, no one watches my video. I was just feeling sad for myself and just yeah. But then more and more of you guys just ended up commenting on my videos. And I came to a realization that as long as just one person is watching my videos, as long as with the time that I put into my videos, if just one person is having a good time, if I can brighten someone's day, if I can make someone laugh halfway around the world or anywhere on the world on this planet, if I can make just one person have just a tiny bit of a better day, even for just the briefest of moments, then it has been all worth it for me. Whatever time I put into it, if I can make someone else's day just a little bit better, then it has been worth it for me. And I came to that realization, I think maybe 8 months into doing YouTube, 6 months maybe. I don't know when I actually made a video. I have talked about it before, but that's it. It's still where I am. It's still the whole philosophy I have from doing YouTube is still, as long as even one person is enjoying the content that I make, I will continue to make it. There are also some content that I'm doing for myself, because doing YouTube has actually had the unforeseen consequence of me sticking with my games for a lot longer. V-Rising is a perfect example of this. Not a whole lot of people is watching my V-Rising video. That's totally okay. It's a shame, because it's a game that deserves so much more spotlights than it gets. And it's fine if you don't enjoy my playing of V-Rising, but you should go watch someone else, see if you can find someone else, and then just watch their videos and then try it out for yourself, because V-Rising is a brilliant game. But if I haven't started playing YouTube, I would probably have done what I always do with my games, is I start to play them, I binge them, I completely play them nonstop for quite a while, and then I just leave them. I never finish them. But this doing YouTube has actually forced me to stick with games and actually experience and completing. I know I technically haven't completed a game yet on the channel. I had hoped to complete the 2 Total Warhammer Let's Play. And I know that technically we kind of completed the Karl Franz one. I know in a very anticlimactic way, because I didn't realize that we actually completed the campaign. Of course, we had to end both of the Karl Franz and the Vlad von Carstein Let's Play due to mods, conflict crashing, and that's just the way it is when playing mods and Total Warhammer 3. But that's a very positive thing that I have come to realize in sort of a personal thing that has been going on with me and YouTube, is it forces me to stick with the game, because I want to finish them for the channel, because I don't want to just play a game and then just quit it halfway through and just leave you just sort of anticlimactic, especially if there's someone enjoying it. It's the same with Abiotic Factor. I know not a lot of people are watching that series. Again, it's totally fine if it's not a game for you, or if you don't enjoy the way that I do content, then go watch someone else play the game yourself. Abiotic Factor is a brilliant game. I am so in awe of that game. And if you have feedback, if you enjoy my content, or if you don't enjoy, but you feel like, okay, you could do this and that to sort of heighten your content, please, by all means, let me know. I know that I have a lot of stuff that I need to improve. But I also think I am getting better now. I feel like I have to start from almost scratch, with me having to record again, because it's been so long since I recorded. Again, I know I have been releasing Abiotic Factor videos, but those videos, I don't remember when I recorded the last episode. I released an episode yesterday, and I think that there is still pre-recorded 1, 2, 3. I still have 4 episodes pre-recorded until I have to. So that's this month. I think the last episode will come out on the 29th of this month, being the 29th of June. And those are recorded way in advance, because, as I said, I just sat down and I binged that game so complete. I recorded so many episodes of it in such a little time. But yeah, again, I truly appreciate all of you guys. Even if you don't like and comment on my video, still, I appreciate you so much for just being subscribed. If you're not subscribed and watch my videos, of course, consider subscribing. I definitely won't force you to it. I cannot force you, and even if I could, I wouldn't. But yeah, it really means the world to me that you guys are watching my videos and liking and commenting. It really, really helps the channel a lot to grow and reach more viewers. And I think that was all I wanted to cover in regards to sort of the 1-year status video. I hope I got the message through that I will definitely continue to make videos as long as there is just one person somewhere that finds enjoyment from my videos. So speaking a bit more about the current series that I have going on, as you can see, Mewgenics are playing in the background just to have something going on, not so you don't have to just sit and stare at my face, pretty as I am. Mewgenics will definitely continue. Again, it will not be a sort of regular series. It will be just whenever I feel like playing, going in and do an adventure. But it's a game that I loved playing, so I will definitely record a bunch more episodes of that. Abiotic Factor will continue. As I said, I know not a lot of people are watching that series. It's totally okay. I totally enjoy it and I want to play it. So that series will continue. I did have a quick boot up on boot up. I did have a quick just test because Total Warhammer 3 got updated with a new content patch and a new legendary lord, the Tiger Man. I did very quickly just load up the Iggit Claw campaign, and it seems to be working. I did have to disable some mods, but that series will definitely continue. The Armor Free series will definitely continue. That is by far my most popular series, so that will definitely, season 2 will definitely continue. I have no idea. I know some people have been asking about season 3. I have no idea when that will be. I mean, I don't want to get into a number of episodes in season 2, but it could go on for an extended period of time. I am very curious to see, especially going back to Armor 3 for a particular reason that I will get into just in a second. I am very curious to see how I will actually handle going back into Armor 3. And I'll get into that in just a minute. So Armor 3 will definitely continue. Borderlands 4 will be on a hold. I know that I have really sung Borderlands 4 praises, and I still think that Borderlands 4 on your first playthrough, at least on my first playthrough, is the best Borderlands game I have ever played. I have not played Borderlands 1, but I haven't played Tales from the Borderlands, but I've played the Borderlands 2, 3, and 4, and I definitely think that Borderlands 4 on a first playthrough is the best Borderlands game I've ever played, but it is also the worst Borderlands game I have ever played in terms of replayability. And the thing is that even though I haven't played any of the extra content, I did play one. I did play the first extra content that came out, that little mini area you go through and then you kill a boss. I think I did that. I forgot what it was called, but I haven't done the Mad Ellie content, and I didn't do the Halloween content, which also turned out to be perhaps the worst single piece of content ever released for a Borderlands game in Borderlands history, which is actually saying quite a lot. But yeah, Borderlands 4 is going on a bit of a hiatus. I will return to it, but I don't know when, because I did try to go in on my own time and start a new wall hunt and just try and play it. And I was just like looking at the map and going, nope. There's just something about how they are doing the whole new game when sort of the replayability in that game that just feels so completely off. I know they are working on fixing a lot of things, but also a thing that I was very worried about that I did cover in my series I talked about is that I was very worried about how they would do the bonus content. And for all intents and purposes, it seems that the bonus content, all of the DLCs are very subpar compared to both the base game, but also other Borderlands 4 content, which is such a shame. I mean, the Mad Ellie Vault with Mancubus returning, from what I can read and understand from people, that has been a huge disappointment. And so, yeah, I will definitely return to Borderlands 4. I know there was also a new Vault Hunter Crash that came out, that the casino bot thing turned mercenary hitman assassin thing. And I definitely want to play him at one point, but I want to give it a bit more sort of space, a bit more time in between me having played it and then going to play it again. So Borderlands 4 will not continue, which means that I technically only have Abiotic Factor, V-Rising, and then Total Warhammer 3, Iggit Claw, and then Armor 3. Now, returning to Armor 3, and why that will be very curious, is because I have been playing, which is something I also mentioned in my posts when I talked about very briefly why I haven't been uploading. I did make 2 posts with just a quick status update. I have been playing, really binging and playing a metric fuck ton of time not sure you can weigh time in tonnage, but I just did. I have been playing a whole heap of Grey Zone Warfare. Now, I hate the title. I think it's one of the worst titles ever. Grey Zone Warfare. It doesn't roll, doesn't sit right with me. But the game, I absolutely adore the game. This, having said that, I have still thumbed it down on Steam. If you have seen my review, you'll know why. That game needs private servers because, yeah, everything else in that game for me is just so close to perfection. It really is. I really love the within the confines, within its niche of what Grey Zone Warfare is. There is such a huge potential there. And the whole thing with Arma 3, and this is not to compare Grey Zone Warfare with Arma 3 because I don't think that's fair to either of the game. I know that they share certain similarities and certain crossover with each other, but still comparing Arma 3 to Grey Zone Warfare, I don't think it's fair to either of them because they are so much more compared to each other. But the things that they do have in common, I mean, Grey Zone Warfare is just far superior. It's also a much newer game, but I mean, the whole weapon check and things like that, I mean, I love that game so much. I am thinking about doing some content for the channel on Grey Zone Warfare. I know this will maybe be a little weird because I started playing Grey Zone Warfare with a couple of friends. And I basically I'm level, not that levels matter at all. Once you reach, I think it's past level 11 when you unlock the last vendor. Levels don't really mean anything in that game, but just to give you a quick idea of how much I have been playing, I am level 37 now, I think, in that game. So I will not sort of be able to show you all of the starter missions and things like that. But I am thinking about doing Grey Zone Warfare content, at least show a bit of the, not tutorials, but some mini guides for where I like to go and loot stuff and how I like to go and loot those places that I usually go to. I'm thinking about doing at least 3 videos, one being early game, the starter area, the good places to hit in the starter area, then a sort of mid-game, where I like to go mid-game and what places I like to loot, and then the sort of end-game, current end-game areas of where I'm going looting stuff and just killing stuff. But I love Grey Zone Warfare. I think it's an awesome game. But I think that's it. Let me just actually very quickly bring up. Yeah, you can go away. Can go over here. Let me actually just go to my YouTube channel really quick and have a look. See. I can also see, yes, 212 subscribers. What if I'm missing a series? No. Abiotic Factor, Mewgenics, Grace. No, not Grey Zone Warfare, Anti-Stacy. Yeah, I think that's all the series. Yeah, Mewgenics, V-Rising. Yeah, those are my current series. Again, with the Borderlands 4, as I said, will probably... they will probably... no, not probably. I will put the Borderlands 4 on a bit of a hiatus, so to speak. Yes, you can go away. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to cover, guys, in this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. There isn't much I won't talk about. I can't go into specifics about my work because I am under contract to actually not be able to talk about a lot of stuff about my work. But please feel free if there's anything you want to know. And there, as I said, there are also other videos on the channel where I talk a bit more about personal stuff. So go and check those out if you're interested in knowing what else is going on. But yeah, again, thank you so much for all the support you guys are already showing me and the channel. And I love everyone and all of you that are watching my videos, whether or not you are subscribed, whether you are commenting or liking my videos. I still love you all, and I hope that life is being good to you, and I hope that that you are not in a fuck situation where you have to. I'm not sure there is an expression for that. I was almost about to translate a Danish expression, just but that will probably get lost in translation. I hope that life is treating you fairly, I guess is what I wanted to say. I hope you get everything, and hope you don't struggle too much with everything and how shit the world is at the moment. So yeah, thank you guys so much for your time. If you have stuck with the video to this point, thank you. If not, well, it's you won't hear me thank you, but it's okay if you have only watched the first part of you have just gone ahead and watched some of it. That will be totally fine. But yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for all the fish. Please take care of yourself, and I cannot wait to start recording and releasing more videos for you. So please take care of yourself, and I will see you guys very soon again. Take care. Bye.